welcome into Better and Green, and thank you to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. If you guys would like some promos from them, make sure you check out our website, bettergreen.com, see what we got going on over there. Today, Ethan, we are talking about who was to blame for this Baltimore loss. We did ask, what is the state of Sean McDermott if Buffalo loses? We're going to do the other side of that coin now. We have seen that the Ravens did lose, but there's a lot of blame to go around. Harbaugh kind of abandoned the run at the end of the game, which, ask the Atlanta Falcons how that went in the Super Bowl, abandoning the run. Andrews had a fumble and a couple key drops, and then Lamar, multiple turnovers. So I'm interested to hear, we have not talked about this yet, who, if you had to assign blame, which once again, that sitting on the fence is everybody's fault. Everybody has a little key part in it. But who do you put a majority of the blame on?
Yeah, the one person you didn't mention there, Ben, is myself, because I decided to load up and hammer Baltimore, and I should have known. I mean, every time I've stepped up and hammered a team this year, they lose, and I did it on Baltimore, and I needed Baltimore to win the Super Bowl. I should have just stayed off, and they'd still probably be alive. So that's how I feel. I feel like I am to blame. Obviously, it has nothing to do with it, so that is not my legit answer, but gosh. It's how the year's gone. Haven't won the playoffs yet, by the way. So, I mean, it was writing on the wall. But you mentioned it. There's countless, people, positions that you could blame. Defense gave up 27 points.
Yep.
Lamar, a couple of turnovers. You mentioned Andrews with the two key plays that are getting spotlighted. Coaching, obviously. I'm going to be honest, though. I don't think really there is anybody to blame.
Oh, okay.
And here's my reasoning. I think Baltimore outplayed Buffalo, and I just think they got the bad end of the draw there. I think they deserved to beat Buffalo, and it just didn't end up happening. But you look at the box score here: first downs 23-20, Baltimore. On third down, Baltimore 7 of 11, Buffalo 7 of 10 for Baltimore, 5 of 11 for Buffalo. Total yards, 416 for Baltimore, 273 only for Buffalo. Yards per play, 7.3 Baltimore, 4.6 for Buffalo. Penalties, 5 for 41 for Baltimore, only one penalty on Buffalo. Turnovers, 3-0. So that was really the main difference. I ultimately think Baltimore outplayed them. The bad interference call, changed part of that game. The turnovers, obviously, the drops. But I don't know. I don't think, I don't think you can put it on the coaching. I think they were prepared. It's tough to put it on Andrews, but he did have the two plays that, you're going to look back at. I think if I had to blame anybody, it's got to be Lamar. He's the leader of the team, 2-time MVP, potentially 3, probably not, but potentially 2 early turnovers that were really bad, especially the fumble. I mean, that just stopped all of their momentum. The pick was bad too, but it was pretty early in the drive. I guess Lamar would be, if it had to be anybody, Lamar. But I don't think anyone's to blame. I think they outplayed Buffalo. I think Buffalo ultimately just made one less mistake and got out of there with the win.
He did surprise me. I thought for sure you were going to say Andrews, but I agree with you on who was to blame. So this is the analogy I want to use for this. If you want to place blame on somebody, you're driving a boat, right? And you wreck into something, you start taking on water. What is to blame? The hole in the boat, or do you blame the guy with the pail throwing the water out of the boat? He's not going fast enough.
Throw it faster. What you thinking, man? What are you doing?
That's exactly what the captain said. You gotta keep going. It's not on me. It doesn't matter that I crashed it. They were in that position for Mark Andrews to drop the 2-point conversion because Lamar put him in a hole. Lamar got him down early, multiple turnovers. Once again, this is a guy, I believe, 4 turnovers all season, and then 2 in that game. We saw that with, was it Herbert? 3 interceptions I think he had in the entire season. Then he had 4 in that playoff game. We've seen it a lot this playoffs, where these guys that did not turn the ball over in the playoffs, and it cost them. They went home early. That's what we saw with Lamar again. And we've seen this from Lamar. This has been the problem with the Ravens. They get to this point, they're one of the best teams in the NFL. I don't want to call them regular season merchants, but they beat up on these teams. And then you get to the playoffs, and we see a pattern. It's multiple turnovers from Lamar, and it's one of his worst games of the season. We've seen for sure his worst game of the seasons before in the playoffs, but this one, it's another, like you said, MVP caliber season, correct? I mean, he was amazing, and then you get to this point in the playoffs, and I don't want to say he chokes, but he just can't make the big plays. 39 rushing yards, and then just a horrible, horrible, horrible fumble. Also, I kept watching that. I wanted to really focus on that 2-point drop. It was a little icy. It was a little snowy, a little slippery on the field. Mark Andrews makes that break. He's wide open. Lamar throws it to him. Okay, it kind of hits him in the hands, yes. But it's thrown behind him. So he's turning over to open his hips, sliding, or starting to slip on that icy ground, hits him in the hands as he's falling, and he drops it. If you get it out in front of him, maybe he doesn't drop that. He has to turn around and make an adjustment for a bad throw by Lamar. Lamar had a couple turnovers that hurt the team. I think if you're putting blame anywhere, it has to be on the guy that's done it to this team before. And I like Lamar. I've got nothing against Lamar, but we've seen it happen. And I think, again, the case comes out of the turnovers, and it's just this ball game. And then in the playoffs, against the Chiefs, against the Buffalo Bills, you can't do it. That's the line of margin of victory. And if you do that, you don't win.
And the infuriating thing about those turnovers, which, again, I had a good chunk of money on Baltimore, all of them were horrible. It wasn't your standard, through the receiver's hands. It wasn't, running up the middle and getting hit from the side. Andrews, I don't know what the hell he was doing. You were running side to side. You weren't going for extra yards. No. Dude, get down. Jackson's interception, I mean, I don't even know if there was a receiver in frame by the time that ball was caught. It was just it was a horrible miss. Good Lord. And then the fumble, again, dude, get down. What are we doing there? So, yeah, and Andrews came when it was, like you said, they were already in the deep hole because of the hole Lamar put them in. Now, again, did someone miss an assignment on the line that let Lamar get sacked and he was trying to make a play? Maybe. Did the receiver run the wrong route on the pick? I don't know. Probably not. But, yeah, I don't know. It's disappointing because I, gambling-wise, really, really wanted Baltimore to go on and win the Super Bowl, or at least that game. And I think they played well enough to do it. And turnovers, I think, ended their season.
Thank you for watching this episode of Better and Green. If you'd like to see some of our recent videos, make sure you click them over there and subscribe to our channel to see more content from us in the future.